Okay, we're going to pick this up in Avid where we've created a project called Action, Proj 1. And in here are our action clips. We have the TJ020 clip, which we imported. And then we have the born off roof. As you can tell by the icon, it has a little chain link there. And so this was a linked file. So we started the born off roof one first. But as I'm going through this, there's something a little odd about this in that everybody they don't look proportionally correct. They're a little too tall and skinny, I think. So I'm not quite sure, but it doesn't feel right to me. And so I'm going to go find a shot where something as obvious as, say, where is it? There it is. Here's a car, and the wheel is not totally round. It's oval. It's squished. It's what you call anamorphic. So in Avid, the way you think about this, that every one of these windows, if I right-click on the window itself, a pop-up menu which deals with what is happening there gives all these different options. So in other words, in the project window, if I right-click, it has only elements that deal with a project. Here's a bin window. It right-clicks a different menu. And here I'm on this source image, and I can change things here. So going down about halfway, I see this thing called project aspect ratio. It's on 4:3. I have a choice to change it to 16:9. So when I do that, as you can see, the image completely changes, and now the wheel is circular. It really is a circle. So this is what it's supposed to look like. So when I go back earlier to these men running around, they don't look as tall and skinny as they used to. And if I right-click again, change it back to 4:3, you can see how everything is stretched. And when we look at Matt Damon's face, there's his head, and here he is if we change this back to 16:9. Okay, we make him a little heavier, but I think that is a little more correct. And the way we can tell is that circle of the wheel. So we'll leave it at this. So the point is, we're only changing the way we're changing aspect ratio of the image that we're looking at. So once we have that, I want to edit this whole clip, the entire clip, because I'm at the very first frame here, down into my timeline so I can do some editing on it. Okay, so this is just one way to do it. And so to bring this down to the timeline, I can drag and drop it, but I'd rather use a keyboard shortcut. So try to memorize some of these keys. There aren't that many to memorize, but if I want to bring this down to the timeline, think of it in those terms. And you hit the letter B, B for bring, it will open up this new window and says, where do you want to create this new, or where do you want to save this new cut? And I'm going to say action cut spin. And I hit OK, and there it is. It brings it down. You only have to do that the first time. After that, you don't have to, it will always know that the cut or the sequence is in the timeline, in the cut spin. To prove that, I'm going to go up here. And remember, we were in the action clips bin. I go now to the action cuts bin, and there's my untitled sequence 01. I don't like things to be untitled, so I'm going to click on the word untitled, and I'm going to start typing action underscore cut1, and then I'm going to put my last name. Okay. Click anywhere in here to accept it, and if you look down here in the timeline at the bottom in green is the actual name correctly. It's action cut 1 Louis. It tells me the parameters, which is 720 by 486 and 2997 frames per second. It doesn't tell me the aspect ratio, but that's fine. I can see that it's better. Now, so understand how this works when you're editing. It's a left to right workflow. On the far left, we have our original project bin, which has two individual bins inside the project, which is the action clips bin and the action cuts bin. Over here on the right is a window which does have these two bins in them. So by clicking the top tab, I can see the contents of clips. Click on the top tab for cuts, I can see how many cuts I have. Now I always call it cut 1, and then I progressively, if I do different variation versions, I can change that to a higher number. The other thing about this bin, since we're here, is that over here I see three icons. One looks like it's what they call text view. The next one has the little squares, which is called frame view, and then finally you have a script view. So real quick, I click in the bin view, the icon view, I see images now, and this little slider I can make these bigger, so I can see the individual clips. And then this script view is a combination of picture and text. I can type in different things. So here I go, roof chase scene, for instance, if I want to identify this. Okay, so there's different things I can do, and this is what we call comment. So you can change them all, however you want to do it, depending on what it is. We'll get more into the details of why one is better than the other for however you're working. I'll leave this in this icon, what they call it. They call it frame view. Okay, so we're seeing a frame. And traditionally, it's the first frame by default. It's what you see. Okay, so anyway, I have on my timeline now. So when I open a bin, I can see the contents of the bin. When I double click on the contents of the bin, of that specific clip, it loads into my viewer over here, and I can investigate it, I can check it, and I can only, in this case I brought the whole clip down, but I could have brought only a portion of it down, and I can do that. We'll get more into that later. But once I have that here, I now want to bring it into my active working timeline, and so by hitting the letter B, I edit it down to my timeline, in this case the entire clip. So once I have the entire clip on my timeline, I can make changes to it, but the point is it doesn't affect the original clip. I can change the color, I can change the speed, I can change all sorts of things once I have it on the timeline, but the most important thing is the original source clip does not change, and I can always go back to that. So once I leave this, it's a copy of it, it's not a clone of it, where I can do anything to this and it doesn't affect the original. So the first thing I'm going to do on this exercise is to break this film sequence down into its individual parts. And I'm going to review all the edits. So when soon as a shot changes, that's a new shot, that's an edit. So by using my left or right arrow, I can bring it back frame by frame by tapping the left arrow, or go forward frame by tapping the right arrow. As soon as I see the new shot, that is where the edit is made. I'm going to slice this on my timeline by using one of my buttons up here in my toolbar called Add Edit. And as you can see, it's a little film strip that's cut in half by a vertical line. So I click on the Add Edit, and wherever the playhead is, it will slice through that and make it a separate entity. I'm going to now tap to the right to the next edit. Each tap is a frame. Do I see the next shot? And there's the next shot. I go back to make sure, yep, that's the first frame. I click on Add Edit again. Now, to make this simpler, I'm going to leave my mouse exactly where it is, the pointer on top of Add Edit. I don't need the mouse to move and tap my keyboard to go to the next shot. So I'm tapping, and then I see the next shot, confirm, and without moving the mouse, I tap the left key button, and it adds an edit. So the assignment on this action born off roof clip is to show me a sequence that has all the edits. We're basically going down and decomposing this sequence into its individual parts. The idea is to watch where edits are made and perhaps also see how the duration of each of these clips are in this contemporary, fairly contemporary action sequence. Okay, so go through all that, and I'll stop this tutorial here. We'll come back after it's all done and join it back up.